It had to be this way. There was no shot that the Seahawks were going to be able to get to the Super Bowl without having to go through the LA Rams. Let's just be honest. This entire year, these have been the best two teams in the National Football League. It's been our Seahawks and it's been the LA Rams. It would not be the NFL playoffs without these two titans meeting. And I'm just glad that this game is going to be at Lumen Field. Of course, we get the primetime slot because we freaking deserve it. This is going to be the best game of the weekend. And in my personal opinion, I see the winner of this game winning the Super Bowl. If you want the Seahawks to beat the Rams, make sure that you come in and like this video. Don't be the person that doesn't hit that thumbs up button. We need Seattle to come away with the victory, have an opportunity to get to their first Super Bowl since all the way back in 2015. I know that we can do it. I know that Mike McDonald can do it. Hit that thumbs up button. And now let's get into the video. This is Seahawks Today. I am your host, Will Ortner, and I would be lying if I told you right now that I, frankly, don't feel pretty darn confident. Now, some of that might be because I just watched the LA Rams go into an overtime battle against the Chicago Bears team that I don't, frankly, think is all that good. Clearly, they are a good team who knows how to win games late, but I would not come in here and tell you that if the Seahawks were playing the Bears that I would be all that nervous. But I do think it is important to note that this Rams team, when they have played the Seahawks, every game has been close. They have a defensive line that is good enough to go toe-to-toe with the Seattle Seahawks offensive line. But this Rams team has not been playing all that well as of late, and hopefully there will be a little bit of poor weather going on in Seattle. Seahawks come away with a victory. Let's dive into the injury report right now. It is Monday morning, 10:14 Central Time. So if there are updates after this and you try and tell me that something is wrong on here, I'll just tell you it was right at the time of recording. Here's the latest Seahawks injury report. Zach Charbonnet dealing with a knee injury. Charles Cross dealing with his foot injury, which is a bit surprising because it had originally been a hamstring injury, then it was a knee injury, now he's got a foot. Charles Cross, his lower body is just all beat up. And then, of course, Sam Darnold's oblique. Diving more into Zach Charbonnet right now to start this one. Obviously, he has been more of the thunder when it comes to this rushing attack for the Seattle Seahawks. He is going to have an MRI done on his knee today, so we should get more information as the day progresses on where Charbonnet is. There is a lot of optimism right now in the Seahawks front office and in the facility that it's going to be okay for Charbonnet, meaning that structurally everything is intact. Now, does that mean he will be able to go on Sunday? Time still needs to move on for us to be able to tell. It's going to be hard to figure out. Don't be shocked if Charbonnet is one of those guys that we don't know what his injury designation fully is until Friday of this week. Next, we're going to take a look over at Charles Cross. Now, I think when he left this game about beginning to middle of that second half, it kind of felt like, okay, Seahawks are up big. They know they can get some rest for one of their star players, one of their big offensive linemen. It's just a precautionary thing because he's been dealing with that hamstring injury and with that knee injury. Not quite. He is obviously now dealing with a foot injury. The news kind of came out late Saturday night, early Sunday morning, that is where the injury issue was kind of more going to be had for Cross. It does feel like it was a precautionary thing in the game, meaning if Seattle needed him out on the field, they would have still stuck Cross out on the field. But he is clearly going to be affected by what's happening with his foot this week in practice. Don't be shocked if you see a little bit more going on with Amari Kite. Don't be shocked if there's more injury news on Josh Jones as a potential backup. Don't be shocked if he is held out, Charles Cross that is, until probably Thursday, maybe even Friday of practice to make sure that his foot is where it needs to be. Now, when we look at QB1, Sam Darnold obviously gave all of us a scare on Thursday when he ended up having that oblique injury. Now, I do feel pretty good and confident after watching him in the last game. I'm not going to sit up here and blow smoke up your you-know-what and tell you that he was perfect, he was flawless, there were no issues. I felt that Sam Darnold was pretty stiff. That being said, when you look at that stat line, I think he had a pretty darn good day, well over 70% completion. Seattle needed him to just find open receivers, which he did. The touchdown throw to JSN is electric. Threw it in a spot where really only his guy could go out there and get it. Doesn't turn the ball over. I was very impressed with Sam Darnold, knowing that he was dealing with that oblique injury. But for me to come up here and tell you that, well, he's fine and I'm not going to have any fears or any worries, that would straight up be a lie too. At this point with Sam Darnold, he's going to have to deal with this core injury the rest of the playoffs, and he's not going to be 100%. How is he able to deal with that core injury? Is he still able to sling the rock as consistently as he was in that first divisional round playoff game? And most important, is he still going to make teams have to honor the deep play threat of this Seahawks offense? Only time will tell. How are you feeling right now on the initial thoughts on the Seahawks initial injury report? Let me know what your initial thoughts are. Are you uncomfortable? Are you a little bit nervous? Where are you going on this one? Let me know down below in the comment section. The Rams, I'm going to dive into who their X factor will be in this matchup, and it shouldn't come as a shock to you that I'm going to not look at someone who played in the last round that we had, but someone that has not played yet for the LA Rams. Or I guess he did not play in the last meeting with the LA Rams. But before we get into that, I need to let you know we are in a sub-battle with the Rams report. Some of you might be sitting there saying the Rams report, Chat Sports doesn't have a Rams channel. We do now. So come on in, hit that sub button. This whole week, we are going to be tracking which channel has more new subscribers. I think there's a shot not only that we beat the Rams report, we double and triple up what they are doing. Come in, hit that sub button. Don't let us lose to the Rams report here at Chat Sports. My X factor for this one is going to be Davante Adams. Now, when you look at how his career has gone, you would say that, well, it's clear that he's tapering off a little bit with his yards, although to be fair, he was injured and missed quite a few games. Maybe he would have gotten around that 1,000-yard mark. But what scares me the most about Davante Adams is that touchdown number. The fact that he has 14 touchdowns on the year, a lot of them in the low red zone, he has clearly become the favorite target for Matthew Stafford. Seattle is going to have to find a way to shut him down in the red zone. It's not about the catches that he could make deep down the field. It's not about the catches that he could make on the sidelines. Now, he did take a pretty good shot against the Chicago Bears. Will be interesting to see how he handles any of that or anything that could happen from that. But I will say this, if he's going to play, which I have a hard time seeing Davante Adams not play, Riq Woolen needs to be matched up on him, and Riq Woolen needs to continue to shut him down just like he did in the first matchup when Seattle played down in LA. Davante Adams only had one catch. He only had 1 yard. Now, he did have one touchdown, but I thought Riq Woolen did a great job. Next, we're going to get into my X factor for the Seahawks in this matchup, and I'll tell you right now, I think it's someone that you might be expecting, but it's someone who's very much so come alive as of late. But before we get into any of that, I need to let you know about the sponsor of today's video. And the sponsor of today's video is our good friends over at PrizePicks. The big game is almost here, and there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than PrizePicks, where it always feels good to be right. The big game is almost here, and there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than PrizePicks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the big game is right around the corner, that also means it's your last chance to get into football action before next season. So close out the season the right way with PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Find your community on PrizePicks. With the new social feeds feature, you can share PrizePicks with your friends and copy lineups from winners with a single click. Copy lineups you like or use them as inspiration for your own picks. You can even follow PrizePicks partners like us and tail or fade our picks with just one click. New feature alert! PrizePicks now has early payouts. If your player gets off to a hot start, you now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. I have a 2-pick power play for the action this weekend. Cooper Kupp, more on his receiving yards. Matthew Stafford, less on his pass yards. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. My X factor has to be Kenneth Walker in this game. Whether Zach Charbonnet is able to go or not, K9 has to have a big game and has to continue his hot performance that he had in the playoffs. He has a position right now and a chance to put himself in a conversation with Marshawn Lynch, with Sean Alexander, as some of the best running backs in the postseason in Seahawks franchise history. Just look at his stats against the San Francisco 49ers. When Charbonnet went down, this play did not stop on the running game, and this guy right here dominated. Over 115 yards on the ground, well over his season average when it comes to yards per rush. But more importantly, he found a way to get into the end zone. I know there's a lot of fantasy football owners right now that are very sad because this could have been K9 all stinking year long. I know there's a lot of angry group chats going on right now after K9's performance. He also did it in the receiving game, which is going to be important. A lot of screen passes have worked for the Seahawks against the Rams, so don't be shocked if he's catching a lot of those. Seattle has to run the ball effectively to win this game. We do not have the same quarterback in Sam Darnold that we did in Week 16. I believe that he is going to be an efficient game manager, and I believe that Sam Darnold can still take us to a victory over the Rams. But to sit here and say that he's 100% healthy would be me lying to you. So how do you take pressure off him? How do you slow down the pass rush of this Rams defensive line? You run the football and you don't let them pin their ears back. That is going to force the Rams to add more people into the box and will allow for more open targets from the wide receivers and tight ends. I think that the Seahawks can come away with a victory in this one, but they're going to have to be able to run the football. Let me know down below in the comment section what will be the final score of this Seahawks versus Rams game. I want you to predict it early on a Monday. Do you have the Seahawks winning? Do you have the Rams winning? Let me know down below in the comment section. Right now on Monday, I do have the Seahawks coming away with a victory 28-24. I think it's going to be a little more high scoring than the first meeting, but definitely not as high scoring as that Week 16 very electric game in Seattle. I think Seattle is going to be able to run the football effectively. Don't be shocked if the Rams start fast with their first 10 scripted. It's very clear that McVay does a great job of putting his offense in a good position to score early. But I'll tell you what, I think the defense locks down, gets the stops that they need. I can't wait for Sunday, man. It can't get here fast enough. We haven't been here since that Green Bay Packers game all the way in 2015, and maybe the most electric victory in Seahawks playoff franchise history. I'm hoping for a game that isn't quite as heart-pounding as that one. Hopefully it's more like what went on Saturday against San Francisco. I don't think it'll be there. I think it'll be close, but hopefully not a crazy comeback like last time. Thank you guys so much for viewing today's video. Make sure that you go in and hit that thumbs up button. Helps us get more content out here on the channel. And most important, it is free to do. Just lets us know that we're making content that you like to view. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll catch you guys next time.